the meeting tonight, the governance meeting. I'll just go through a few formalities. If everybody has signed in, if you haven't, please make sure you have electronic devices, if you can turn them off, or put them on silent so it doesn't disturb the meeting. Just before we go into the meeting, I'd just like to welcome everybody to Marcus Nicholson. He's the new town councillor for Kinnybrook website. Yeah, we're attending the meeting, but I don't think you can vote Marcus until ratified next week. But I don't know if you're familiar with everybody, but we'll just go do around the table name. My name is Barry Elliott, chairman of the group tonight. Company Council for Newsroom. We'll just go around to introduce everybody. Yeah.
Margaret Wilkinson, town clerk.
Anna Jenner, principal officer.
Captain Elizabeth, Fox, town council. Deirdre Campbell, Newsom.
Caitlin Jones, Plessy.
Supply.
Dave Johnson, Isabella Ward.
Matthew Rolls, Melissa Dale. Tracy Allen, Supply. Denise Nicholson.
What? On the
Yeah, Coopman.
I'm Elisa Mullen, I'm the Democratic Services Officer. Elaine Brown, Deputy Town Clerk.
Mark Pierre Croft.
So welcome on board. That's great to have you. Good, right, we'll go into the agenda. Apologies for absence. I believe we've had one, Martin.
Yes, councillor Smith.
Yeah. That's it. Yeah. Next one, disclosure of interests in grant of dispensations. I'll just say disclose like the last one. Pursuant to section 106 of the Local Government Act, I'll be taking part in this meeting, but not voting, because I've still got a dispute with the county council over council tax. So that's great. Anybody else got any? Good. Next one, item 3, minutes of the previous government's meeting held on the 7th of October 2025. We're agreed at the meeting in full. I'll just like the committee to note that. Someone noted, and is there any issues arising from that? I mean, great, yeah, Kath, it's going great. Item 4, actions arising from the previous minutes. Alicia is going to give a DBS update, please, if you can.
Yeah, so thank you everyone who has given their DBS, whether you're county and if you're a town councillor, for completing the DBS process. Everyone now has submitted all their DBS information. Marcus, we've just had a conversation about it and I will be in touch with you about yours. But everyone has submitted their DBS information to me. We are still waiting on some checks to come back, those that are town councillors. Hopefully it shouldn't be too long. It's a 5-stage process that the DBSs go through, and every single person's, well, there's only 4 that are still remaining and they're all at stage 4. So hopefully it won't be too much longer before we receive everybody's full DBSs.
Thank you for that. Any questions from the floor on that one? No. None. The insurance update, if you could kindly give an update on that one, please.
Chair. The council agreed in the summer that not to go down the self-insurance route anymore, but to insure all of our external assets. For the benefit of Marcus, all we insured, Marcus, was basically the staff, the liabilities that go with it, and all of the items in the office themselves. We self-insure for the rest, but we've agreed now that we will insure the war memorials, all the play areas, the bins and bush shelters and everything. The effect of that, I mean, we had in the budget £9,000 for this year, and for those that refer to the budget monitoring and the estimates that were provided, you can see that we've spent £30,000 now. It was said that the increase in insurance liability was going to be about 17. And it has turned out about 17 for a full year. But the 29, we've had to pay for a part year as well. So that's how we've had such an increase in this financial year. So
I've just got a question if I can. Was it since the insurance is being implemented and with them, reports of vandalism, has the insurance had to be kicked in for any of them or not?
no, the insurance, you've got to take into account the vandalism that we've had and the cost of repairing the vandalism has been under the reasonable limit to make insurance. Plus, you've got to be very careful that if you've got an excess and you've got a repair and you end up saying, well, we can get £50 back there. Sometimes the office has time and the time it takes to go through all the process. Sometimes solicitors are involved. It actually costs us more because we can't spend that resource. Plus, the council's insurance works exactly the same as your home insurance. If you start to make, as some people do, not obviously in this room, but there's some people known to say, and I'm going to get my insurance premium back by claiming every year, the policy just goes up and up. And if, it is a warning to everybody in council, is that the more claims you make, instead of paying what will be around about 25 next year, if you make claim, you'll end up paying 35 and 40 the year after. So, because you become an insurance risk.
So like if you've got like a vandalism and it's £1,000 worth of cleaning, yeah, that's a 600.
We've got to
you've got to weigh up.
we've really got to consider that one.
Yeah, so you weigh, as officers you weigh up.
Yeah.
Yeah.
The risk assessment.
Any more questions from the floor on the insurance? Happy. Moving on to item 5, minutes of the staffing subcommittee. Just asking this committee to agree them. That was a meeting were held on Thursday, the 4th of December. Agenda item 5.
Agree the minutes.
Agreed?
Yeah.
Good. Yeah. On the same one, item 6, can we resolve to agree the recommendations from that subcommittee, which is in item 7? No, it was resolved.
You need a proposer or is it just agreed?
I think we do need a
Yeah.
I'm happy to propose.
Yeah, thank you.
Structure.
And the
I'll
second,
seconded.
and again, a vote will only be voting, so sit unanimous.
Yeah.
Yep, everybody? Yeah. Hold on.
And if I can just add, Chair, that now that it's gone through this process, because the governance committee are delegated for this particular action as opposed to the council, will be looking to address the recommendation.
Yep, we'll present item 7. Yeah, good. Right, 6, item 7, I would just like to say that if you look at item 9, item 7 actually is nearly identical in part item 9, so I'd just like to pass that if I can and go straight on to number 8, and we'll then include item 7 in item 9, and then we'll make sure we haven't missed anything from item 7, so we're not duplicating things. We're happy to do that. Yeah. Right, so we'll just go to item 8, which is the for everybody to note the internal audit to the members of Clyde Council. I do wants to say something on that, or we'll just open up the floor.
I'll just, if I can, Chair, just say that all town and parish councils are subject to external and internal audits. This particular internal audit, Mike Slaughter, he's been here for about 3 years now. He did spend a little bit of time in the summer looking at the new financial package that we've got, and he gave it quite a good assurance on that. This visit at the end of November was looking at more of the regular practices and the accounts that we've got and the invoices and the various checks and balances that we carry out. A very comprehensive piece of work. And again, there's no recommendations for us to take forward. And it's really, the reason for this is to let governments have a good look at it and discussion about it. Mike is open, if you wish, for him to actually come to a meeting, so you can actually see him and he can talk through his own report. If members decide they want to do that, you know.
Yeah.
Towards the end of the year, possibly when we're producing this final report.
Yeah. Anybody got any comments on the audit report?
Just what Malcolm was saying, what Malcolm was saying, I think, personally speaking, I would like that, if he came to a meeting and talked us through his findings and his report and that. I don't know if anybody else would be in agreement with that, but I think I would find that beneficial.
Where's he based? Where's he based?
Where's he based? Well, he lives towards Newcastle. He's not actually. He's a retired clerk.
Yeah.
He's like when I'm from London as well.
He is quite flexible.
Yeah.
But I don't think, sorry, Chair,
No,
I don't see any harm in him coming in. I mean, you know.
no, I think it's a good idea.
Yeah, just to be in agreement, I just think sometimes just nice to hear a voice and for him to, you know, just talk and,
Put the face to the name.
yeah, absolutely.
Can that be arranged? Can that be arranged?
I mean, I'll speak to them shortly, but I think that the best time to do it would be, obviously, what, you know, council next week isn't it? I don't think we'd be able to make that. But the next council meeting we'll have will be in May, and he'll have produced his final internal audit report and the various assurance things he needs to fill in, or what you call the AGO, which is what presented to the external audit. So that'll be a good wrap up of the year.
Yeah, good.
So we're going to aim for, you know, either governance at the end of April or May council.
Yeah. Good. Right. Moving on to that, so we'll come to 9, remembering, if you want to go back to item agenda 7, it's in court now, so we'll, number 9, facility report, what did it say? Want to start off?
Yeah, before we get in any detailed questions that you may or may not have. I know some people have them, but if I can just say that the figures we've got in there, community development, environment, they have already been through the respective committees. It's the governance committee that has had any scrutiny of any of the figures. This has been built up in December. There's one thing I would just like to highlight, and it's over the financial plan, which is there on the graph. You know, we've got a financial plan going over 6 years. One thing which hasn't been picked up is the cost for the by-election, which Marcus was successful in. That's about £10,000. Now, what we'll do is, whatever the result of the discussions are tonight and the recommendations that go from governance to council next week, we will have some updated figures on balances and everything like that. And that'll take into account any pluses and minuses that you may want to discuss tonight. The other thing which I've got in here, which if you can bear in mind as well, please, is we're going to the individual figures. We did talk a little bit about a month ago about balances and where we are and what have you. Now, what I've done on this particular graph, which I'm going to show you, is I've taken the base budget that we've got for next year, and this is obviously to be discussed and agreed. And the budget of 1.578. If you look at the left-hand column of each category here are the balances. So this is at the end of 25-26, which is what we're projecting. So that's the balance we're going to have, and that's the minimum we should have according to the government. The government, for an authority this size, say we should have 25% of the budget. So that's close to £400,000 for a 1.6 million budget. Now, that figure, that continuing all the way down, is how the balances reduce each year because of the financial model that we've applied, which is basically a 2% tax increase. The county council always said fine. In this financial model that's in the graph, I'm suggesting 2 for the next 5-6 years. We can't not pay inflation. You know, we can't not pay the county council extra money for being here. We can't pay people who install bus shelters. We can't pay the county council any less for the partnership agreement. So we've got to apply it at 2%. And I think 2% isn't over the top. But what it means is, by taking our base budget, extrapolating it across the years with a 2% increase, having a 2% increase on the tax base, it means that at the end here, at the end of the decade, we are still quite well, you know, I've got written on a sheet somewhere, you know, we've got about 400, we've got about 700 there, we've got about 440 here. So we're still in a good position at the end of the decade. The red figures are if you decide not to increase the council tax at all. So you stay with the current level of council tax, which is £134 for a Band D property. And you'll see that the red figures at the end of the decade take us way below what the government said we should have. So although it's nice not to increase things, graphs tell you that there's got to be an increase. Otherwise we end up in serious problems with this thing. So that's just to give you an idea of how a 2% keeps us afloat and a no increase puts us into trouble. That's all I wanted to say before we get into the detail, because that might have a.
I think if I could just come and as well, I was at the meeting with you the week when we went through all that, and I had lots of questions at that meeting on the drafts and on how much the balances were and the spare money and whatever. But you're right, we just discussed before, it's a best guess this. So we as a committee, as a group and full council will go through them figures and try and chip 1,000 here, 1,000 there, but it's still going to be a best guess. And I think there's been a lot of work being done by Malcolm, the officer, and whoever's been involved to get this figure. Important to Malcolm, I think it's only an increase. And for some people, £2.71 per year isn't a lot of money, so I'm not being disrespectful of that. But I think they achieve what you're trying to achieve would only increase £2.71 on a Band D. We've got probably till the 23rd of January to get this into county council for them to hit their targets. So it's just noting that there is likely areas where we could pinch 500 quid, pinch 1,000 quid, but it's still going to be a best guess. So we could talk for a minute on it, we could talk for an hour on it, but just bear with that in mind that it's probably being well looked at. And I don't know who was at that committee that we were at. Was it a training exercise? But we did some grilling there. But that is great to understand how the previous graph and how we've got to balance it over the number of years to keep the business flowing properly. So, Denise.
Yeah, does that mean that whatever the county increased their taxes by, that is on top to the member public?
Yeah, that's £2 like Barry referred to. That's just the Blythe Town Council element of it. Because when you get your council tax bill of just say £2,000 per ordinance, the county council gets some of it. You know, the police authority gets some of it, and Blythe Town Council get £134 of it. So they might increase theirs by 5%, but our element is only 2%.
within the 5%?
No, they're 5%. Just say for argument's sake, their bill was £2,000 for this year, and our bill was 134, right? So if they increase their council tax by 5%, that's 5% on 2,000. So that's £1,000. So that's £100. The budget was done all right, don't worry about that. So their element would go up £100.
Yeah,
Our element would only go up £2. So the bill for next year would go up £102, of which 100 would go to the county and £2 would come to us.
right, so it does increase on top of what they're already going to set.
Yeah, yeah.
So they're going to set the maximum.
Yes.
It's like the, sorry, it's like the Police and Crime Commission, yeah, and all the others, it's all added up. So, you know, we normally we keep the lowest we can.
Yeah,
The NCC.
It's all added up at the end, and then they'll sort out the percentage of what you got.
Yeah.
I was just going to highlight, obviously you weren't here for the training session we did on this, but there was a screen that showed the past 4 years worth of council tax bills that showed the breakdown that makes the total of your council tax bill, showing the Police and Crime Commissioner, the County Council, Adult Social Care and the Town Council. And off the top of my head, looking back over 6 years, the Town Council precept had actually only increased by 6% over a 6-year period of time, because there were some years where we applied no increases at all. So 6% in 6 years on the Town Council. The Police and Crime Commissioner's precept had increased by over 40%, which actually only meant £58 extra. The County Council's element had increased by 28%, which had added an extra £400 onto the ratepayers' bills, but the Town Council's element was minimal at 6%. But I'm happy for you to come in and I'll show you them screens from that presentation, which is, I think, makes it clearer.
yeah.
So communicating that, but just coming on that as well, I mean, as councillors, the headline will be, Lighthouse Council increased the council tax by 2%, £2.71 when it's got 500 grand balances. And we're being through that, the importance of balancing the long-term project, it not increasing the council tax by anything. As Martin showed on the graph, I think I'm correct, is you've got to really take into account the best guess of cost of living's rise, whatever. So ideally, as a council, we would want to go and say there's no council tax increase for Blyth Town Council this year. That would be popular, probably. And we'll still sit with 300, 400 grand in the bank, but you've got to really pay that because I'll just let Dave come in and
I think it's wonderful to be popular and not to increase the council tax. What I'm actually looking at as far as these figures are concerned is basically, you're saying long term. I think what we're looking at long term is running into the red. Yeah, we're looking at a constant as far as what you're saying, the government minimum amount of money has got to be, but you're not taking into consideration inflation. So therefore, that amount of money is actually worth less, not more. And the other thing is that the depreciation that we've got at this moment in time, we've got to consider it's taken many years for this council, and it's been really hard work for these people. And I totally understand this. They get a surplus, and we're slowly but surely running the surplus down, and I don't feel happy with that situation, to be honest with you.
so
Yeah,
yeah.
I just said, David, what I have, it's gone now, but the base, I said, we'll use next year as the baseline to extrapolate it forward. I did apply a 3% CPI increase on that. So the baseline budget increases by 3% each year. the council tax increases by 2. This is something that we'll monitor regularly. I mean, the next time when we do the probable or the final account, sorry, in April, May time, what I'll do is I'll put another graph in there because we might find that, you know, this government and the factors in the world, the projections for the next few years are 2%. So that graph will look even healthier. So then we'll be able to say, and really going forward, the tax increases might just need to be 1.5 or 1%. So this is something that we'll look at it at least twice a year, but there's definitely inflation being built into that. But I take your point about it is a reducing balance.
I just complicated just before, Dave, I don't know if you were at that meeting where we went through all this, and I said before, I certainly grilled it as well, and it was a really good meeting to have, and I think we should have it once a year at least, or running up to these sort of presentation of figures. And the answer to them questions is there's a number of responses can be given to make it actually better than what you seem to think could happen. And we could talk about that again for 10 minutes. We could talk about it, but I think we should have them meetings more regular on how we'll get to these figures, what the alternatives can be, how you can go in with no council tax increase and take money from the balances, you know. And I was quite happy because I was like yourself, wait, why we're increasing the tax when we've got so much money spare? But that session was pretty good. I think it will be good for everybody attended. Hey, Caitlin.
Yeah, I think obviously, as we'd all like to say, we don't want to increase it. I think given the plans that we do want to do for Blythe and the bigger projects that we've all kind of said we like the idea of the play park, you know, Thames Play Park, they're all quite big and beneficial for Blythe, and therefore we need to kind of make sure we've got that balance and not kind of run ourselves down into less than recommended in the next few years. And obviously I know what Councillor Nicholson's saying about the NCC part of it. Obviously that's the councillors in the room that are county councillors to discuss in February. It's not really for us to discuss here. I know you have to take it into account, but that doesn't necessarily affect us. It's more that what we decide affects them. And I think given the benefit we can give to the town, and the obviously, like you say, it is on that band, it's £2 something, which can £2.71, which can be a lot for people. But in the greater scheme of things, I think it is beneficial if we go for it this time, and see, like you say, next year, keep monitoring it and see if we can not increase it in the future or bring it down to 1 or 1.5%.
Thank you, Caitlin. Adrian?
I agree with what David said. You know, here's a popular thing to say we're not increasing it, but somewhere down the line then pay the price for that. You know, the money has to come from somewhere. People enjoy what happens in Blythe every year, and they do appreciate what the council puts on, albeit that we have a very small budget in the realm of things. The world's in a strange state at the minute. We don't know what's around the corner, and I think it's always better just to have that little increase. And I think people will accept it. I know it's hard for some people, but you know, what can you do? You either cut out some of what we do, and that certainly wouldn't be a popular move. Where would you start? The fireworks or some street events during the year? We would be crucified for that. You know, you'd only stop one event and people say, why have they done that? Well, we have to do it because we, you know, other than that, we have to increase the council tax. You can't leave yourself open to where balances are being run down, because then, you know, it's government, that's the government come down on you. So it's, you know, we're the keeper of the purse, and we've got to make sure that there's money in it. And so, like I've said, and like David said, it's easy to say big headlines, we're not increasing your council tax. What do you do next year? What do you do the year after that? It's easier to do it in small portions and bring people on board with you and say, look, to keep what we've got in the town. And this is why we're increasing it. Then
I mean, they're good points, that's what I said about 10 minutes ago, we could chip away at fireworks, we could chip with anything, but it's still gonna
That
be
wouldn't be
a best
possible.
guess, and I know that's what I'm saying, so it's, in my opinion, there's a lot of work being done on it. There's a lot of twos and fours that we could talk forever on it, but I think I do agree with supporting the recommendation to move it forward to the whole town council. Yeah. All right, then,
I mean, Deirdre's made some good points, David, well, everybody makes good points, but I think when we, whatever we do as a council going forward on the precept and the council's or band D, and it obviously gets, the way the factors work, for a band A, probably band B, which, there's a lot in various parts of the town. I mean, that would probably be a £1.80 increase for a lot of properties in the town.
Yeah.
The way it's not £2.70 for everybody. It goes up and down. Band D is just kind of the benchmark that you work from. But I think when you do put council tax up, I think it's important in any communications that were put out that, and this is what we're still able to provide. We're still able to provide free events. We're still able to look at, the SEND initiatives that we've all agreed to, to keep the bus shelters, to keep the bins emptied and things there. And I think we've got to, sell the good things that we do for the £2.70 increase on the banking probably. And I think that's an important thing, that not everybody's good at blowing their own trumpet. And I think, you need to do it at this particular point. And that's up the officer.
I just agree with,
Yeah.
I agree with everything that's been said. And as everybody said about the events, I mean, the one thing that we do right with is doing the events, and it keeps everybody in Blythe happy. And I mean, they're not going to mourn on because we put £2 on or something like that. They're not going to mourn on
We'll
about
always get
that.
somebody, but at least.
I don't think we do as much, Barry, because I think it's the county that gets the hit. But the town council never ever has done. I mean, last year they didn't even notice that we didn't put anything on at all. It was never noticed, so I can't see. I just think, to keep it balanced, right, we should be doing something. And I just query one thing more. Blythe and Bloom, are we doing anything with it this year?
Yes, I mean,
We've got £900 here.
Yeah.
What's it, 1696 for? It's
Sorry, where was it?
1912. But we didn't have a Blythe and Bloom this last year.
What we did, we didn't have any volume of applications. We only had about 5 or 6 across the various groupings of gardening initiatives that we had. So we couldn't hold a competition. We do have plans to kind of really try to revamp it and get the interest going again next year. We're doing a wide field this year because we did exactly the same. But the expenditure on it, what we did for the entrance, for the 5 or 6 entrants, councillors Swinburne, Baker and Johnson went round and thanked the individual entrants. They took photographs, and what happened was in each particular case, we selected the best photograph, got it framed, and the councillors distributed them to the entrants themselves, just as a thank you for taking part.
I just think it's always been worthwhile having it because it puts the spirit up, because like I say, it's always been my baby, and I've always wanted to keep it going because we stopped the Northumbrian and Bloom. So it's put more input into the Blythe and Bloom, and I think it's important that we keep that, because I've had a lot of people saying to me that they never got a phone, they never got a thing about it. So I just don't know what happened there, but you've explained what you think, but
That was advertised just the same.
was it? Right.
It's just 2 things that, yes, I think people were encouraged to make their gardens nice. And it was something that carried on from the old Blythe, Valley days. And it used to be a huge event back then, and it did get even young people involved in making sure that they had nice gardens, and the competition itself created that momentum. But, you know, it was kind of lost in the mire last year. I mean, I'm asking about the mayor's allowance. Perhaps I shouldn't be. Not if we're going to put the council tax up. But, you know, £2,000, and for any, whoever may or may not be, the mayor, doesn't matter which party, isn't a lot of money. You know, I can remember Blythe Council when they used to have 2 limousines, which were based in Sunderland, and they would travel from Sunderland to Blythe to pick up the mayor, and the deputy mayor was picked up in the other one, and it was cost thousands every year. And you know, the mayor represents the town, regardless of who it is or what it is, and to make sure that, you know, 2,000 quid doesn't go far when they've got to pay for taxis and stuff like that. I believe that's the case. If I'm wrong, can somebody correct me? Or is it just a basic allowance that they get, they're given that, and that covers whatever events they attend? I don't know. I don't know how it works.
Elaine?
The mayoral allowance is a taxable allowance, so it's paid through the payroll service to the mayor. It's paid in monthly instalments, and it covers items like if the mayor required a blazer upon becoming mayor, or some formal attire. It covers travel costs to get to events. It purchasing raffle tickets to participate at the events, various costs like that.
Well, if I may, that's the concerns there. We've got a mayor. We've got to make sure that, you know, they're not in the pocket, and that they represent, you know, they're representing the town, and that, like I said, they're not in the pocket.
Could I just jump in just here and just emphasise the point I said before? The purpose of tonight's meeting is just, I'm coming to you, Rick, then I'm coming to you, Caitlin, but if I can just emphasise this point, we could sit here all night and justifiably, by the boom, as expenses, anything else we could.
I know.
What I'm saying is, to get this through tonight, to get it in time for the county council, whatever, if we want to revisit the Blythe and Broom in the new tax year, we can come back like we did with the council's allowances. If we want to revisit the mayor's expenses, I think that's for another meeting. Not want to take anybody's from the floor, but I think we'll just talk.
I mean, I'm sorry, just to add to what Barry's just said, to complete the circle on what you said. We have got the mayor actually filling in a log at the moment to give us a better idea of how much it is costing to attend events, raffle tickets, travel. And that will give us a better baseline in May of what we think should be for the next May. So if it comes out about right, we'll stick with this. But if David says at the end, you know, I've spent about £3,000 and I've only been to these events, probably bring it back and ask for an increase in that particular element. So
Yeah, that's how they're going to get rid of it.
yeah, so
Rick, come in, then Caitlin, yeah.
Right, so we'll probably just go back to the point that we were talking about before about the Blythe in Bloom. I totally agree with what you're saying, Kath. I think it is important to the town, and I think it does make a difference in it. And people do take a pride in what they do, and it's nice to be recognised for that. The only feedback I had from the participants when we went round and spoke to them is, could we bring it forward a couple of weeks? Because it's better for their blooms and stuff, so they get a better show. And that was the only, I don't know if I mentioned this to you before, Elaine?
No, I don't think it was me.
Oh, right, okay. The feedback we were getting was, could we bring it forward a few weeks, just so we'd have a better representation of flowers and things? Because a lot of people, the people we did go to sort of felt their best was a few weeks before that, and it might have waned a little bit. So that was the feedback when we're talking about doing it for this coming year. Perhaps bring it forward.
I don't think they're all agree, but this is like the purpose of this meeting is like consider and resolve to agree the governance committees and that such that all very valid points. I don't know what you want to say, Kate, but I think to try and do that tonight is like we're trying to undo all this. and it's not,
I guess so.
I get them through, and every one of your points can be addressed, and I'm no doubt sure will be addressed. Are you happy with that, Rick? I'm Caitlin.
So mine is valid. Just to cut honest, before you said about us merging agenda item 7 and 9.
Yeah.
I just wanted to point out if we are, I don't know if we're agreeing them separately or coming together. But in agenda item 7, it doesn't include the agreement we made in the Environment Committee in December about the £5,000 for the notice boards. It is in agenda item 9 of the budget for next year. But it was just in case we are agreeing them separately. Technically, there's a discrepancy between them. That was all.
Yeah.
The decision that was made, the recommendation of the Environment Committee was to include that amount in next year's budget.
Yes.
Which is why it's in the agenda item 9, because that's the proposals. But agenda item 7 is budget monitoring for this current financial year, where it's not included.
Does say 25, 26 ignore me.
Yeah.
That's like, I just was presuming the column was 26, 27, like it always is, and it's not. So it was half valid.
Obviously, all really good points. If you're happy, could I move on to the recommendation? If I could. Is that okay? I'm not getting anybody's further questions from the floor. So the recommendation is that we consider and resolve to agree the governance committee probable outturn for 25, 26 in the budget for 26, 27. Can we agree on?
Agree.
Great. Consider and resolve, do we need to do environment in this committee?
Well, you've just agreed there that the individual governance committee, which covers staffing and members and bodies, so the environment, community development, they've agreed their own budgets through our chairs, respective chairs, but the governance committee, they've got to agree yours to go to council as well.
Yeah. So as a committee, can we, we've already considered, I believe, can we resolve to agree the environment and community development committee's probable outturn for 25, 26 and their budgets for 26, 27?
Agreed.
Yeah, great.
And the agreed budget for all committees for 26, 27 and precept can be carried forward to the full council for approval. Can we agree on that?
Agreed.
And to constantly review the financial plan and remodel is for doing. That's for a note, isn't it?
Yeah, well, this is what I was saying in response to the likes of David and Natalie before, but constantly look at his, Denise. So, we constantly review the inflation balances, the effect of, decisions that you make, which might be outside of the budget. So we're constantly reviewing those figures and we're doing reporting on it. At least a 6-monthly basis, unless there's a problem, we've got to come back to you.
And I mean, just part and short, it's the best guess, and I think it is a good statement, the best guess. And if in future that we found that as it would make decisions that could be adjusted, we'll just meet and adjust. It's not going to be a problem, I doubt. So taking that into account, there's nothing else. Everybody's happy with that, and just see item 10, the date and time of the next meeting is.
It's planned for the 23rd of April, but it's something that I would like to discuss with the chair and the deputy chair of the committee near the time. We might have to put it back a week because we've got the Easter in there, we're closing down a new accounting system. We'll want to reconcile a bit back over as well. So in reality, from the year end, 31st of March, we've got Easter straight away and we've got very few working days to get all the accounts and accruals done. So we might have to put it back, but we'll let you know near it's forward.
All right, and just say thank you very much, and everybody stay safe on the ice tonight.